Hello everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol Battle Report. Today for you we have 17 threat of the Avengers going up against 17 threat of Web Warriors. The table is all set up to go with the missions and whatnot already done, so let's get on with things by taking a look at the two teams. So with the traffic light slightly in the way, here is our 17th threat of Avengers being led by Captain America, of course. We also have Black Panther, we have Hawkeye, we have Iron Man, we have Ant-Man, and we have Bring Your Kid to Work Day Ant-Man as well. And the tactics cards for this side is Avengers Assemble, Second Wind, Pim Particles, Ricochet Blast, and Advanced R&D. So also 5 minis on the Web Warrior side, because we don't include Bring Your Kid to Work Day Ant-Man obviously. So being led by Miles Morales, we have Peter Parker Spider-Man, we have Venom, we have Ghost Spider, and tagging along one more time is the Punisher. And their tactics cards are Web Barrier, Med Pack, Field Dressing, Blood Red, and Personal, and all webbed up. So the Secure Crisis being played today is the Infinity Formula going missing. There's 4 serum canisters on the board, 1 victory point for each one secured during the cleanup phase. Anyone contesting gets 1 extra power in the power phase. And then the extraction is the always great to see Skrulls infiltrate world leadership, which definitely goes really well, and the Skrull is found instantly. So there's 3 decoys, you have to roll dice equal to your... you just roll 2 dice, and if any of them are a crit, you can pick up the Skrull agent because you've found them, your speed becomes small, and you score 2 victory points if you're holding the Skrull in the cleanup phase. So the 3 potential Skrulls are right down the middle there, and then the 4 serum canisters are on the corners, right in there, and you'll have seen the other one when we looked over the teams, right there. So we'll see which team is deploying on which side and be back at the start of the match. So deployment is all done and the Avengers are on your left and the Web Warriors are on your right, and it is the Avengers who will be getting first activation, so let's take a look at their lineup first. So we have Hawkeye and Cap right next to each other down this end of the table, Iron Man over there with the wreckage, and then up here at the end we have Black Panther and Ant-Man. And if we come over here, the Web Warriors, we have Ghost Spider here, we have Miles on top of the car that Wolverine was on last time, we have Venom up here in the building, they all have web crawlers so they can get over this stuff easy. Punisher is hiding right in there, and then Spider-Man is over on his lonesome over there. So it'll be a quick snatch up to try and find the Skrull agent, turn 1 as is normal. And speaking of which, let's jump into Battle Round 1. So it was Black Panther who got the game started because he moves long and could easily cover the distance required. To get over here to try and check that civilian there to see if there was the Skrull agent, he spent his power to do the check. There is the roll, as you can see, no crit, so the Skrull agent remains undetected, and he had nothing else he could do, so it's over to the Web Warriors' first activation. It was Peter Parker Spider-Man who went first for the Web Warriors, basically doing a mirror match turn of Black Panther's turn. He double long moved, well, more like a long move and a half, to get to the same civilian to check them if they were the Skrull. Again, we've left the roll there to see, and it was no crits, so unfortunately he's wasted his power and his turn doing the same thing. Opted to check over there because that's the weaker side of the Avengers deployment. Gwen is still long movement and she can definitely get up to either, honestly, to check them as well, but if that one had been the Skrull on Spider-Man's turn, it would have been hard to do anything about it this turn. Iron Man activate and moved up medium twice to go after the central civilian, and as you can see there's his roll, a blank and a hit. So no finding the Skrull for him either. I feel like the last time we had the Skrull objective, the curse was broken and the Skrull got found on like the first or second check. I believe the curse is back in full force now after 3 failures. So Gwen took advantage of no one else being able to get super close to the central civilian by rushing up with her long movement to also spend her power to check that civilian that Tony just checked. And again, no crits. I mean, there's only 1 crit on each D8, right? So that's a 1 in 8. Or a 2 in 8 because you're rolling 2 dice, so 1 in 4. It shouldn't be this hard. It's the gist of it. But yet another failure, and back over to the Avengers. Captain America was next to activate. He double medium moved and spent his power to look for the the Skrull, which I've probably been calling Kree. Either way, he spent his power and ding ding ding, we have a winner. He got his crit, he is found the Skrull agent, it's now on his person, his movement becomes small, and assuming the Avengers still hold on to it at the end of Battle Round 1, which is very likely, that'll be 2 victory points in the bag. So at least that also means that the civilian was actually a human and runs off scared, and so does the one over here. So they're all gone, and that does mean hopefully some fighting can happen now. Let's see. So Miles activated and he moved forwards medium. One medium move was not enough to get within range 3 of Cap to do his web line kick, so unfortunately he just did have to double move for his activation. He's in position now if he activates before Captain America next turn, and he is also securing the Infinity Formula back there. Second last activation for the Avengers was Hawkeye, and he just had to stay next to the Infinity Formula to secure that victory point at the end of the round. Now normally he would have been in range to shoot at Miles. Miles of course can cloak, so he has the stealth roll, so he can only be targeted within 3. So that is nowhere close enough. So now it's over to either Venom or the Punisher, and then back over to Ant-Man. So it was a similar turn to Miles's for the Punisher. He had to double medium move in order to secure this Infinity Formula, and as a result could not really do anything with his turn. That does mean, because of all the Infinity Formulas, people are going to be generating extra power, so hopefully next turn rather will be more bombastic, but yeah, it's still just positioning in Battle Round 1. So Ant-Man spent his 1 power to shrink down to small size, and then used his free hitch-a-ride roll to be placed within 3 of his position, to move him right there next to that Infinity Formula. He has another action left, but he has nothing he can do. He doesn't have enough power to transform back, he can't reach Spider-Man. And yes, he could have just normal moved twice at regular size to end up in the same position. The reason to do it this way, well, I guess he could also have moved over there and just spent the power to shrink as well, but regardless, wants to end his turn small size in case Spider-Man goes before him, tries to take him out, because at least in his small size he's re-rolling defense dice, and because he's small he can't hold anything, but he is still contesting the Infinity Serum. So anyway, it is over to Venom to end Battle Round 1. So Venom wall crawled his way and scampered down the triple X bar. He double small moved, although he does have a larger base, remember, and he is hunting down Captain America because he wants that Skrull agent, but there is nothing else he could do this turn, so that does take us to the cleanup and scoring. So not a single blow thrown in Battle Round 1, and the points are real easy to tabulate. The Avengers have the Skrull agent, of course, because Captain America is holding him. They have the back serum here with Hawkeye, and Ant-Man has the serum over there. So that's 2 victory points for the Skrull, 1 victory point for each of the serums, for a total of 4. The Web Warriors hold this back serum with Miles, and then the Punisher has the one over there. So they are 2, and as we go into Battle Round 2, it is the Avengers going first, 4 playing 2, and everybody who is contesting a serum is generating 1 extra power. So Captain America got Battle Round 2 started for the Avengers. He threw his shield at Venom, hoping to at least do something and maybe get the ricochet because Ghost Spider was within range. He got a couple of hits through, no wilds though for the ricochet, and Venom on his 4 physical defense easily blocked it. So after failing to do that, Cap moved backwards. He is only moving small because he's holding the Skrull, but he didn't want to go too far anyway because he wants to help control this Infinity Formula. It seems like most of the fighting is going to happen down here. Sadly didn't do anything though, and now it's over to the Web Warriors' first activation for second battle round. So we are sticking over here as Miles was the first to activate for the Web Warriors. He was guarding that Infinity Formula, but he's chosen not to, and he double moved to get into contesting range for this one. He spent 3 power, because remember he didn't spend his power on the first turn, and he generated 2 on this turn because he was next to the serum. So he spent his 3 on all webbed up, so any Web Warrior can spend 3 to play this card, which is weird. Right, because now Daredevil's in Web Warriors, so Daredevil can web people up. Either way, enemy characters within 3 of the character that played this card suffer slow special condition, and now allied Web Warrior characters, when attacking a slow special condition suffering person this round, add 2 attack dice. Obviously it caught Cap, it caught Hawkeye, didn't catch Iron Man, he's slightly out of range, but the important part is now Venom and or Ghost Spider can get into, well, specifically Captain America because he's got the Skrull. They'll be adding 2 dice to any attacks they unleash. Black Panther activated, and he started within 2 of Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Spider-Man that is. So he did his basic strike, which does involve a push regardless of whether or not damage is dealt, so Spider-Man did end up getting pushed back towards that Infinity Formula. Sadly no damage dealt, bad attack roll, and Spider Sense saved Spider-Man from any damage. So for Black Panther's other activation, he moved backwards to secure this Infinity Formula back here, which might mean that Ant-Man can go away and help the other flank. Gwen activated, and from where she was just in front of Tony there, she moved long, which put her right around here-ish, which is just within 2 of Captain America. Like, it was millimeters, like just within, because remember you don't count vertical height in Crisis Protocol. So that let her do her basic attack, which is Spider Technique, and because she moved prior to doing it, afterwards she gets to do an advanced long, so that's why she's ended up right there next to the serum afterwards. And because of all webbed up, she was rolling 6 dice instead of 4. That said, the attack dice roll was pathetic. There was 2 hits through on 6 dice. Cap didn't have the power to vibranium shield or anything like that. Doesn't matter. He blocked the damage and took nothing. So in an effort to try and force Venom's hand, Iron Man activated, and he just double moved for his turn again. But he used it to get up to this Infinity Serum and to claim it. So it's to try and force Venom to either stop the point being stolen, or in some way to shove, throw, get rid of Tony so that it's not scoring at all, as opposed to what he could also do, which is like move down here-ish, and his attacks are range 3, so he could definitely reach Cap and get those 2 extra dice thrown in as well. But he'd be giving away a victory point, so it's a tricky situation. I guess we'll have to see what he does. So Venom activated, he moved small round the corner, and he did decide to go after Cap with his basic attack, which is range 3, so he is within range. Normally 5 dice, so plus 2 to 7 from Cap being slowed via all webbed up. And some damage finally got done in this game, but it was only 2, so not super fantastic. And Venom opted to sit on his power because he's probably going to want to counter if Hawkeye shoots him with energy arrows. Now there was a little bit of a rules query regarding his web snare. That's target a character within 4, pull them medium towards him. Because the trick was going to be, oh, he could spend that and pull Iron Man away from the Infinity Formula. Iron Man can fly, so the query was whether or not the car would stop him from being pulled, because if he can fly, wouldn't he just like fall over it? The way we're going to play it, which is hopefully the correct way, is that flying is optional when you're moving as the character. So if you're being forcefully pulled, presumably you're on the ground, and therefore Iron Man would get caught by the car here, and he'd still be within 1 of the formula, so it's pointless to do the pull. If that is wrong, let us know. So as you might be able to tell by all the damage markers on the table, that was a very busy turn for Hawkeye. His turn started with him sitting on 3 power, which he spent on advanced R&D, so he can spend up to 5, and then you distribute 1 power to however many allies you want. He gave 1 to Captain America, Iron Man, and Black Panther. So then he was just going to fire his full quiver of arrows twice at Venom, energy defense, so Venom's only rolling 2. His first did amazingly well with no wilds, so no stats effects, but he did 5 damage. Venom spent 5 in total for a counter attack with We Are Venom, which heals him based on damage done. He dealt 2 damage to Hawkeye, so that's technically only 3 done there. Hawkeye fired again, only did 1 but got a wild, so he did bleed. And Venom did 5 damage back using the exact same combination of attacks, dazing Hawkeye, but only doing 2 damage because he only had 2 damage left. So in total, Venom took 6 and healed 4, so he took 2 damage. Right, hang on. Because that was 5 down to 3. That became 4, but then he healed 2 more from that. So yeah. The bleed stays on though, but Hawkeye managed to daze himself. Keep in mind, like when he was doing the We Are Venom counters, it's 7 dice physical, but because of the web barrier still kicking in... Oh wait, no, web barrier was the last round, wasn't it? Oh no, web barrier wouldn't be on... It isn't permanent for when they're slowed. It was for just the first round. That means that he was rolling 2 extra dice that he shouldn't have been rolling. Unfortunately, we can't go back at this point. It's too far gone. That was a mistake. It may not have made a difference because the roll where he did 5 damage back to Hawkeye, it was basically all hits to 0 defense. So a difference of 2 dice would not have saved him. But on the first one where he countered just for 2 damage, don't remember, unfortunately. So apologies for that. Forgot. Web barrier only applied to the first round, not for however long they have this low. Whoops. So thanks to Hawkeye managing to get himself dazed on his own turn, it was back over to the Web Warriors. The Punisher activated and spent 3 power on an aimed shot. He shot downfield, it's range 5, at Black Panther, and the Vibranium armor saved him, like literally. His defense roll of 4 dice was 4 blanks. So if it wasn't for the Vibranium armor roll, he would have taken 4 damage. But as things stand, he took nothing. Punisher had another action, but there was nothing he could do because his base attack is range 3, so he's just staying on the Infinity Formula. And now it's over to Ant-Man to end the turn for the Avengers, and then back over to Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Unfortunately for Ant-Man, he is just choosing to do nothing with his turn, no changing size or anything like that. Because if he moves away to start trying to help Cap over here, Spider-Man is just going to contest this. It doesn't get him a point, but it will deny a point to the Avengers, because Punisher is holding that one comfortably back there. So the only way to make sure they keep majority or potentially keep majority, is just to stay there and hope the impact webbing doesn't make a big difference. But I guess we'll see, because I think that's the only play for Spider-Man here. So Spider-Man moved downfield to do exactly that. He moved next to Black Panther. He is just within 1, like millimeters again, just within 1. He attacked with his impact webbing. He needed the wild to get the push. He didn't get the wild, nor did he get through the defense roll. Didn't even need blanks this time. So Black Panther took no damage. He is going to generate 1 extra power in the power phase for being in contesting range, but no scoring. Speaking of which, that does take us to the cleanup and scoring for Battle Round 2. So for all the shifting around the table and manoeuvring and whatnot, nothing actually changed as far as scores go. The Avengers, thanks to Captain America, still have the Skrull, although he did take 2 damage, so he's on his way to dropping it perhaps. The Web Warriors are now holding this Infinity Serum down here, but Iron Man snatched up the one that they were holding back here, and Punisher is holding that one, and Black Panther and Ant-Man were able to hold that one. So nothing has changed in terms of who owns what. So the Avengers gained 4 victory points for the Skrull and 2 of the 4 serums. The Web Warriors gained 2 for 2 of the serums. Putting things as they stand, let's move into Battle Round 3 with the Avengers still going first. They are leading on 8-4, but obviously now Hawkeye is turning his card to his day's side, and Captain America looks like he's about to get beaten up. So Hawkeye tried again with his energy arrows at the start of Battle Round 3. He was of course over there. The first barrage of arrows into Venom did 2 damage, no wilds for any stats effects. Venom countered again, but didn't have enough power to do We Are Venom on top of that, so it was just a basic strike back at Hawkeye, which did not do any damage. Hawkeye then tried again with his arrows, full quiver, just shooting at Venom, and it didn't get any hits. Like, it was literal misses. So only 2 damage, putting Venom at 4 in total. And then Hawkeye, who's been sitting on like full power for a while now, he spent 3 just to hook arrow over here because he's wounded anyway, so he's not really helping to contest that point. And now if anyone other than Venom wants to take him out, they'll have to move after him. And it's weird how very particular areas of the table always become the focus for a match, but yeah, we're sticking down here. Venom moved small into contesting range of that serum, and more importantly to try and eat Captain America. He did his basic strike, 5 physical. Captain America spent 2 down to 1 because of his affiliation bonus for Vibranium Shield, so he was rolling 2 extra defense dice, and as a result managed to fully block the attack. And Venom has taken 1 damage because he did not shake his bleed, so he's currently on 5 of his 7 damage. So Captain America was the next to activate, and first of all he played Second Wind, so any Avengers can spend 1 to heal 1 and remove stun. He was the only one who took advantage of this, so he's only got 1 damage on his person now. Then he tried to do just his basic attack on Venom to try and stun Venom, daze him, sorry, but did not get through his defense. The attack roll was pretty bad, so he fell back as his other actual action, small distance because he's still carrying the Skrull, so he's stuck up there, and that does mean that Miles might have to chase him. Trying very hard not to provide Miles with power, because if he gets 7 power he can just use his Venom Shock or whatever it's called to make Captain America drop the Skrull regardless of whether he's dazed or not. But Gwen can still do a lot of damage and keep up with him, that's for sure, but they're going to have to pull away from the serum, which might be important. So why chase after Captain America when you can just spend 2 to web pull him back in? So that's what Gwen did. She spent 2, pulled him in towards her small, which is basically base to base, but slightly uneven there. Then she did her spider technique. The first one is just 4 dice, it did nothing. The second one though, because she's already attacked him this turn, gets 3 dice added in, so for that he spent on Vibranium Shield, and it's a good job he did, otherwise he would have been dazed. As it turns out, thanks to his defense roll, he only, quote unquote, took 3 damage, so he's 1 away from being knocked out with the damage he's still got on him, and back into the danger zone with where Miles is. Bit of a wide shot to start the next activation, which was Ant-Man, because some stuff happened elsewhere on the table. During his turn, Avengers Assemble was played, so any number of Avengers can spend 1 to play this card. Anyone that does advances small. It was just used to get Captain America to move away from Gwen small. Obviously Miles can still catch him, but he's going to have to come around the corner. The building's been knocked slightly. He's going to have to come around the corner to see him, so at least there's an outside shot. He'll live. And even if he doesn't, that puts Miles out in the open, and hopefully like Black Panther rather can get him. So anyway, Ant-Man was size small. He used his free when he's size small move within 3 to be over like hereish. He did a ant-sized uppercut on Spider-Man. It did 1 damage. It transforms him to normal size automatically. He then spent 4 on Bullet Ant Barrage. The beam can go that way, so it missed Black Panther. It only did 2 damage, which wasn't that great for how many dice were being rolled, but it does stun and poison as well. So in situations where he would gain more than 1 power, he doesn't, and in the power phase he loses 1 power. And he's on 2 HP left? 2 HP left, yes. Well, either through luck or skill, Captain America lives. Miles hopped over the Daily Bugle stand right in there, did his just basic attack, which is 4 dice. Captain America spent 2 for Vibranium Shield. As it turns out, it was utterly unnecessary, because there's the attack roll. 3 blanks and a shield, which does nothing. And everything Miles has is all about re-rolling defense rolls because of contesting objectives, etc, etc, and his affiliation bonus. Not that that applies here, but either way, Captain America lived. Black Panther activated and did a basic strike on Spider-Man. Did not do any damage, but has to push back small, which knocked him right into the corner there. So he spent 2 down to 1 because of Avengers' affiliation bonus to pounce after him, and then did his kinetic explosion for 3, and that did 2 damage, which was exactly enough to stun Spider-Man. So he is not getting an activation this turn. He's obviously not going to contest that point or generate any power from it, but his 2 stats effects go away as well. And with him being stunned, that means it's over to Punisher to end Web Warriors turn 3, and then back over to Iron Man for the Avengers. And that's important, because that means when it gets to Battle Round 4, Web Warriors finally go first. So we're actually going to cover both those final 2 activations, because the Punisher just ever so slightly shifted so he can get a shot off next turn with his aim shot on either Ant-Man or Black Panther, but wants to hold that point. And Iron Man, he also did the same, he kind of shifted forward, but that did put Venom within his range for Repulsor Blast. He spent 3, oh it should have been 3 down to 2 actually, so he's actually going to get 1 more power back, on Friday AI to add in 2 dice, making it from 4 to 6. Didn't do well with the attack roll at all. Venom did okay with his 2 defense rolls with 1 reroll for contesting an objective, and just the affiliation bonus in general. So he took 1 damage, so he is going to live with 1 damage, and that does take us to, with 1 damage remaining, that is. With that, we are into the cleanup and scoring for Battle Round 3. So once again, mimicking the previous 2 rounds, at the end of Battle Round 3, the scores are moving up by the exact same amount. Against all odds, Captain America held on to the Skrull Agent for 2 victory points, and Iron Man held this Infinity Serum, Ant-Man held that one, so that is a total of 4 victory points gained again. Punisher held that one back there, and Gwen and Venom held this one for 2. So as we go into Battle Round 4, the Web Warriors are getting first activation, as previously said, which might be important as far as the Skrull Agent goes. But the Avengers are winning 12 to 6. If nothing changes, and this is again another round where the scoring is exactly the same, the Avengers will win. Or if they lose the Skrull Agent but somehow gain all the Infinity Serums, they will also win as well. So we'll see how it plays out. So it was Miles' chance to shine at the start of turn 4. He spent 2 on Web Swing, not because he needed to reposition, but because it's a free action superpower, and it adds 2 to the next web line kick he does. So he swung up to there, he did a web line kick, 4 dice up to 6. Captain America spent 2 down to 1 on Vibranium Shield, fully blocked the attack, so then he unleashed another web line kick, which presumably goes back down to 4 at that point, because it's only the next one that web swing buffs, and Captain America spent 2 on Vibranium Shield, and also fully blocked that one. He's entirely tapped for power now, but he did live. So Captain America activated for the Avengers, and he double short moved, either because of his slow or because he's holding the Skrull Agent. Pick your poison, either way it makes him move slow rather than his normal medium. So he fled as far as he could, but obviously he's still in the danger zone. So Gwen Stacy Ghost Spider activated, and first of all spent 2 to heal 3 on Medpack, but she used it on Venom, who she was within 2 of, although it's actually within 3, but either way she spent 2 to heal him for 3. Then she moved along from there to there. Then she spent another 2 on Webline to pull Captain America back short towards her again. Someone told her to go for the legs and it's working. And then she did her basic spider technique attack. He didn't have anything to use on Vibranium Shield, but as you can tell by the lack of any damage on the table, he fully blocked it. This is the best I've seen Cap do from a defensive point of view ever. The number of hits he's weathered is just ridiculous. Iron Man activated and repeated what he tried to do at the end of the last turn. He stayed contesting that, or holding that serum. He activated Friday AI for a reduced cost by 1 because of the Avengers affinity bonus, affiliation bonus, and shot a repulsor blast into Venom's back. He rolled fantastically, and it did 5 damage, and he's out of range 3, so Venom could not counter. Only needed to do 4 after Gwen healed him, but either way, Venom is dazed, the blood is gone, bleed rather, but he's not getting a turn, and he's obviously not holding that point, which is important. So Peter Parker's Spider-Man activated, and this was a last-ditch effort to try and gain one more turn to make this back. He moved, so he was claiming this, but on the far side of it, he was out of range to do his taser webs on Captain America, but he was within range 4, so he could impact web. It's only 4 dice, but he had nothing else he could do. 1 hit, got through from the initial attack roll. Cap only rolled 1 block, but that was obviously enough, so he took no damage. That close to making him drop the scroll. Yeah, I said that right, didn't I? Either way. If he'd done it, he wouldn't have been able to pick it up, but it would have denied 2 points and would have bought them a turn. I think with that failing, it's probably over, but we are going to play out the rest of the round anyway. So out of frustration, he web-appointed Ant-Man into Black Panther. Ant-Man didn't bother shrinking himself or anything. He took 1 damage, and Black Panther actually whiffed his dodge roll entirely. So he took 3 full damage because of size 2 plus 1 damage. So with that, it is over to another Avenger. Hawkeye spent 3 to hook arrow himself onto more or less the serum right there, giving him clear line of sight well within range 5 to shoot Gwen in the back with some arrows. He shot twice. Each one got through for a single point of damage, no stats effects or anything like that, and obviously he is now claiming this because Venom isn't getting a turn. And it is over to the Punisher to end the turn for the Web Warriors, then Ant-Man and Black Panther can do whatever they want. So the Punisher spent 3 power on an aimed shot to try and take out Black Panther after Spider-Man did a surprising amount of damage to him. All said and done, 1 damage, putting him at 4 of his 6 on his healthy side, and he wanted to stay at that serum just because there's nothing really else for him to do, and he can't do a normal range shot because it's range 3. So that does end the game for the Web Warriors, and we might as well just very quickly cover the obvious 2 things that Ant-Man and Black Panther are going to do. They're both on their healthy side, so one of them just needs to do that, and then the other one just needs to double move to contest that, just to be a D word and stop that point being claimed. So yeah, that takes us to the scoring and the end of the game. So just to cover this officially, against all odds, Captain America held on to the Skrull agent for 2 victory points. Iron Man holds the serum there. Hawkeye is holding this one. Ant-Man is holding that one because he's healthy and Spider-Man is not. And then that one is a draw. So they gained 2, 3, 4, 5, taking them to 17, so 1 above the 16 required to win. The Web Warriors scored nothing in that turn because Black Panther is contesting the serum over there that the Punishers held on to for the whole game. So 17 playing 6 at the end there. So obviously a really rough one there for the Web Warriors, but it is worth pointing out, statistically improbable the amount of punishment that Captain America took. Obviously, yes, he was spending on Vibranium Shield a lot, and Hawkeye fed him some power so he could keep on doing it. Well, 1 power, but still, and he was next to the serum, which was feeding him more power to keep doing it on a couple of turns. Even that's just adding a couple of dice, so he still withstood a massive amount of punishment. So if there was an MVP award in this game, Captain America definitely earned it right there for holding on to the Skrull for the whole game and weathering the blows of 3 Web Warriors. 4 at the end because Peter Parker hit him as well. So 4 in total of the 5 models on the enemy team tried at some point to take him out and failed. Although if we're talking MVPs, Gwen Stacy tried her butt off to take out Captain America. She was persistent. She kept on using web line. She kept on hounding him. Better than Miles, better than Eddie. She just was on him constantly, so she tried. She is definitely the MVP for the Web Warriors. Speaking of which, they were desperate to just try and make Captain America drop the Skrull after he held on to it for so long, because if he dropped it and it went to turn 5, they would have played Blood Red and Personal. Venom would have tried to take out Hawkeye, which would have given them 2 more victory points to make back some of the loss. I doubt they could feasibly have taken out anyone else. They were all on their healthy side. Oh, no, Cap would be slipping over as well if he got dazed in, say, turn 4, because he drops the Skrull. So then he could potentially get finished off as well, and that would have been 2 more victory points. So there was a way, had he just dropped that agent, that the Web Warriors could have brought this back with Blood Red and Personal Tactics card. Maybe held on to it a bit too long. But Venom would have been able to eat Hawkeye for sure, especially with him being so close over there. But yeah, it was a fun one despite the Web Warriors kind of lacking. But There was way too many abnormally positive dice rolls for Captain America there. He is truly worthy of wielding that hammer. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Please do share your support, and we'll see you next time, hopefully for the Inhumans. Got some of them painted, some of them to go. Until next time, ta-ta for now.